Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about controller annotation from SpringBoot. The controller annotation in SpringBoot basically we use to handle HTTP incoming request and is an extension of component annotation. If you put controller on the top of the class, whenever Spring starts, it will load components, controllers, and other components and create beans and make those beans available at Spring Cache. If you look at the definition, the controller annotation in Spring Boot is a stereotype annotation used to mark a class as web controller in Spring MVC. That's perfect. It indicates that a class can handle HTTP request and return response. So whenever the controller, the class handle HTTP request, it will access the data as well as it will generate the response, and those responses can be HTML or JSON, XML. I'm going to tell you all the details in next pages. So basically it will produce some response also. If you want to produce XML, JSON responses from a method body, you can use response entity method level. Response body is a method level annotation. So controller is a class level annotation. We can use controller for class level only. Response body is a method level annotation. Let's look at the purpose. Request handling. Yes, it indicates that the class is designed to receive specific HTTP request. So basically, the class which you configured as controller is responsible for accessing those requests and capture the data. Request mappings. It is often used to conjunction with other mapping annotations like get mapping, post mapping, request mapping, etc. etc. So basically, when you deal with HTTP get methods, you're going to use get mapping. When you deal with HTTP post methods, you're going to deal with post mappings. So there are other annotations are there. We'll go into the deep. Model creation. Control typically interacts with the application's model. So whenever the class is captured from the HTTP URL, and it's going to process the HTTP request, and it will process and it can deal with data layers, service layers. It can talk to models. So basically it means it will at the data layer we can send the data to data layers. View the resolution transition, additional MVC. So in traditional Spring MVC, controllers are responsible for selecting the view returning. Okay, basically the class you configured as controller can send or call views. So the controller class will process your request. We can redirect the controller to view. So the view can be configured from controllers. And sometimes you do not want to send the response to HTML, you want to send the response to XML or JSON. So those can be done by using response body. So class level we use controller, method level we use response body. When a class having a controller and response body is at the method level, you can remove these two annotations, put rest control on the top of the class. Rest control is nothing but combination of these two. And whenever you put control on the top of the class, Spring Boot is going to load the components and create beans. This is the basic example of controller. If you look at the basic string controller is a class. I ordered with controller, and this is a method and returning a string. So that's the reason I'm mentioning as response body. So basically this method level is going to send string also. Apart from JSON, XML, we can send strings also with the response body. So if you call localhost 8080 messages, we're gonna get hello from SpringBoot. And this is another example. I'm capturing a request param and I'm sending the output. Let's create a sample program and see. Let's create a project. Just controller Java Maven. I want to take it as WAR file web. So Spring Web dependency we should be taking to have REST controllers, and time leaf to display dynamic HTML. Say create a controller. My controller. Public. I'm going to return a string. Public string. Message. Return. Welcome. Welcome to SpringBoot MVC. So let me access with message and let's have a response body. Okay, so let's run this application. So application has started at 8080. Localhost 8080. Message. See, welcome to SpringBoot MVC. Let me have one more. Message. Hello. Keep the learning. Okay, restart. So with the hello you get this message. With the message you get this message. Hello. Keep the learning. Okay. Now access a parameter. User, and I would say path variable string. So here I use name. So name is captured. I'm displaying here. Restart. See, John displayed here. Or I would say Elon. Welcome to SpringBoot. Now look at controller with lazy annotation. If you do not put lazy for a class with controller annotation, Spring is going to load this particular class as a controller and create beans, and those beans will be available at SpringBoot cache. Sometimes we don't want to load our controllers whenever the Spring Boot starts. So for that one, we can use lazy annotation. If you put lazy annotation to the class is already having controller annotation. And if you put lazy annotation on the top of the class, whenever the Spring starts, it's not going to create beans or object for that class or controller. It is going to create beans or objects when we access for the bean. Until unless you explicitly call that bean, container is not going to create object for that controller. It means if you ask for a bean, I will create and give it to you. Not like that the bean is already created and available for you. No, it is served based on the request only. Let's look at the example. Let's go here. Say lazy. Save this class. Or we do one thing. Okay. So I put a constructor here. Nothing changed. Let's run the application. See, controller is created when Spring Boot starts. Root web application context initializing. During the Spring Boot initialization, this class controller has been loaded and object is created and this object is available. I didn't call the bean. I'm starting the basic application, but the class is loaded, object is created and this object is available. I don't want to do that. What I will do, lazy. You're not putting anything in the bracket means lazy is equal to true. So I will do one thing. Get this context. Get bean. Okay. I'm calling this bean. But do it on the we don't call. Let's see. I'm just putting lazy. So here lazy means it's not content is not going to create object for this thing because we are not calling this class, this bean here. I'm commenting here. So this class will not be loaded. See, this message is not displayed. My controller is created. It's not displayed here because lazy. So telling the lazy that controller is not going to create this particular bean because I'm not calling this bean. I'm never using this bean. So lazy means, yeah, controller see that. Are you going to call this particular bean? No, it won't create. Let's say I'm calling this particular bean is a lazy, so it will create based on this call. Now it's going to create because this call is the lazy. See, it's going to create. So what I will do, I'll uncomment it. Now it's not going to create because I'm not calling. See, it's not created. So this is how you can use lazy with the controller for a class. Now by using controller annotation, let's return a JSON response. Just now we did for a string, we returned string response. Let's return a JSON object which is having 2 attributes. So what I'm doing, I'm creating I will use the same existing controller class. On the top of that, we will be having controller annotation, and we'll be having response body at the method level, and we are going to return a JSON object. My data is nothing but one more class having 2 attributes. So similar thing actually, we are using a response body with a controller annotation. This is like a class level, this is like a body method level. and we are returning an object which is like a JSON. So whenever the Spring Boot starts, it will load this particular class and function. Whenever this particular method is called, it's going to return JSON object. Let's try that. So copy paste I will do. Before that, let me create a bean. Let me create a Java bean user. So private string name, private the age. So I'm having a user with name and age. Let's create getter setters constructor. Okay, it's a complete bean, Java bean. So constructor and getter setters. So let's do one thing here. User JSON I will be calling. No path variables. Return new user. I don't know, is age say 45. So basically I'm throwing the user object. So it is having two attributes, name and age. I'm throwing this object because of this response body. We should be getting this object in a JSON format. Let's run this project. I'm not changing anything here. Localhost. See, we got this JSON. So we are calling this thing and it's created a user object. Now by using control annotation, I want to send the response user object in the style of XML. Just now we have seen JSON response. Let's see XML response. So same thing here. We have the controller here, and request mapping is an optional. We want to extend the you want to have your own style of URL here. Maybe it's an optional. Response body is same. Two things we should change. Producers, you should say get mapping or post mapping. You should say produces. You're going to produce, this function is going to produce XML media type dot application underscore XML value you need to put, and this dependency you need to put. This is very important. Only two things. So compared to this thing, here we don't put the producers, we don't put the dependency for the JSON. For XML, we have to put this particular dependency, and you should tell from the method level that you are going to produce XML from this response. So what I will do, so here I will do something like this. So user XML, user XML, no path variable. I want to return new user. Okay, this is the thing. So and produces media type. Yes, media type application XML value. You can put this value also here, but both are same. But let me use this existing variable. So I want to use existing string from media type. Okay, and we need to add the dependency. So go here, Jackson data format XML dependency. Take this guy, remove the version, let it load the dependencies. So now we have to put this and media type, and we are returning same user object mask 46. Okay, let's recompile. User / XML. See, the data has been displayed with XML format. Previously, we have it like a JSON format. So this is how you can use response body for XML type. This thing added and this thing is added. Only two changes. Now, by using controller, I want to display a string or I want to load an HTML. So whenever we access a particular URL, the control should take the request and process and display HTML. So for this one, we should be using time leaf. So to achieve this, two things. You need to have this particular starter. Additionally, because we are already having web starter, because through web starter we are getting controllers, REST controllers. So to deal with the HTMLs, we need this thing. So let me see if I can display any attribute value in the HTML or how we can do it. Let's see in the coding. So for that one, what I will do, go here and say time leaf HTML template SpringBoot. Okay, we got. Okay, let me add this particular HTML in this template folder. The index. Okay, copy here. Templates. The index.html. So I don't want all this name. Okay, let me send the name attribute. So we need to access a particular URL. It should capture the request param, and we are having model attribute to capture that particular variable and return that HTML. So what I will do, let me copy paste user HTML. I will remove this, and we don't need this particular thing. I'm commenting this XML response thing. Okay, so come here, path variable. Okay, I say name. I'm going to capture this thing and display. model Spring model. So model dot add attribute name it should be string, return index, and go here and add template engine time leaf. It's already added. Load this guy. So if I access this particular URL with the name, index.xml should be displayed with name. Restart the application. Yeah, we got index.html. Oops, sorry, we don't need this. This is going to display set the string here. So comment this guy. Now this particular model attribute is dispatching to this index. So index.html we will load hello elan should be displayed. So I commented this thing. Yeah, hello elan pick displayed. So this is how you can process time leaf through controller. So same thing, I'm passing a URL here, capturing an attribute here, param, and using this model, I'm capturing that particular value and keeping here, delegating to index.html. So if you look at HTML is here, we are not putting HTML here, .html. So that's a small change you need to observe. Just now we have seen model. So by using model, I have added an attribute and I access that particular attribute in the view, which is nothing but timely template, timely HTML. So we have three mechanisms to deal with attributes. If you want to have few attributes value to be displayed in the HTML or timely leaf template, we can have three options. Model is an interface, ModelMap is a class, and ModelAndView is a class. So if you go for this model, you can add an attribute and use in the HTML or JSP in the view. And if you use ModelMap, which is nothing but implements map and extend this particular interface. So by using this, still you can have the attributes and you can display those attribute value in the timely leaf template. And ModelAndView, this is also class. Still you can use like these. You can have an attribute and you can use the particular attribute value in the timely leaf template. Basically this interface, these two are classes. So here is example, the controller with model. So I already shown you how to use model for a method level. So it's an interface and we used to pass the data to the HTML. So basically what we do, we use model that add attribute. We're going to provide the attribute key and value. So that attribute key we're going to use in the HTML. So this is the sample code, but I have already explained you how to use model just now. Let's deal with the ModelMap. This is also similar to model, but it's a class, implements map and extend model. And we can, by using this, we can add attributes and use them in the HTML. So basically we have two options actually, map.add attribute or map.put attribute. Both will work. Let's use this option. So what I will do, so HTML model map. Okay, I would say model map, model HTML model map. Okay, I'm changing this guy. I think it looks everything same, so I can use this guy, or I would say model put age 46. Okay, so let's go to the HTML. Hello, age is the attribute. Okay, the page. Okay, if I access this particular URL by using ModelMap, I'm going to capture name, age, that will be displayed here. Let's run the application. So this is the path. VLAN. See, VLAN is captured from here. This 46, age 46 is captured. I mean, we're setting the value here, and that value is coming here. This is the text. This is the value. Text value. Let's use ModelAndView. So basically, it's a class, and by using this, we can have the attributes and we can display the content in the HTML. So basically, if you look at this model map, we return string. Model, we return string. String. But here, we return model and view. And we're gonna specify the template name here. Let's do this exercise. Model map, model and view. Okay, model and view. Model and view. Let me pass index, model, add object. Perfect. So basically, I'm accessing this particular path variable. I'm setting age 46. I need to return model and view here. So model and view return type, accessing this particular string path variable, using it here, creating a model and view, passing the view, returning this particular object. Rerun the application. So we should use bill. Yeah, bill is captured from here, age 46, this URL. See, the other URL also working, basic URL also working, model map and model view. Model view is coming from here. So this is how you can use model and view. Here return type is model and view, here string. We are sending the HTML name, logical view name, but here configuring here and sending the model here. So far we discussed controllers. Let's see the difference between controller and REST controller. Both look similar but little difference. Control is designed for MVC applications. Here we will have model view controller. So view we have here. And with the controller, if you use response body, is going to return string, JSON, XML. Commonly we use this controller for HTML based templates. You want to send any data to the front end, use controller. Now talk about REST controller. So basically we use this annotation for RESTful applications where you get input text over RESTful as XML, JSON, string, integers. You process it and send the response as JSON, string, XML, or integer anyway, any other ways. But you are not going to send this response to HTML. Here HTML won't be there. Not suited for rendering views. So we do not use response body here because REST controller is nothing but controller plus response body. If you use any class edit controller and method level has a response body, you can replace these two with this. So yeah, designed to return XML and JSON. This is other way we can compare. Return type is HTML's JSP because it will deal with this particular, it will deal with the front end. Here there is no front end, it's like a backend services. Consume input and throw the response as JSON, XML, string. So no front end here. Used for the web applications like a model view. You will have a HTML page, take the request, process it, give it back to the HTML. Here, no, just it's like a middle level services, RESTful service level that you can use. Get a request, process it, and send the response as XML or JSON. So here we use template engines like TimeLeaf, JSP, HTML, so and so. Here no HTML. So here you need to explicitly specify this response body. Here response body is automatically included. And if you look at this particular implementation, here the REST controller, and we don't use response body here. If you compare this page with JSON here, controller and response body. So these two will be removed and we will gonna use response body. We're gonna use REST controller. REST controller. We are not using response body. So using REST controller, annotate your class with response controller and response body is not required. Return type will be JSON in this case, and we can Spring will use message converter. Yeah, automatically it will convert that object into JSON and send back. So here we have our application. So what I will do, shut down this guy. So I would say I will copy paste and say REST control. So I do one thing. Let's remove everything. Response. So this one has a response body. Cut it, put it. This one has a response body. This one has a response body. 3. I think 4. So this one has a response body. Remove it. Remove it. Remove it. Remove it. Remove it. Put REST controller. You can use lazy also, but let's not bother that. So okay, so everything should work. So we are not going to use XML, that will skip. Okay, let's read on the application. So say messages. messages. Sorry, message is displayed. Okay, then hello. Displayed. User name. User name XML. Yeah, this XML is coming here. This is called no JSON test. JSON test we have no. Yeah. JSON test. See, JSON. So if you want to have this XML thing, what we gonna do? This thing, we uncomment this and uncomment this. We're using data format, and yeah, we have this thing. So we enable the dependency. And we have this thing. Let's rerun. User XML. Rerun. User XML. Okay. Now, see, we got the XML because of this. So we use XML, we add this dependency when we are calling RestController. The objects return as XML. So this is how we can use controllers, REST controllers. Thank you for watching this video.